Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, to be an American, where at least I know I'm free, and I won't baby, I understand her today. There ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Well, thank you very much. What a group this is. Ooh. And we want to thank the fire marshals because they had a lot of work to do to get this crowd. We got a lot of people outside, thousands, and this is really great. We're very, very honored to be here in Manchester, a place that I've gotten to know very well on the political trail and love, and in particular to be in the great state of New Hampshire. As I promised you, and as you know from the beginning, I fought to protect and defend New Hampshire's beloved first in the nation primary, and you got it. You got it. And next year, we're going to make history together when we win New Hampshire primary for the third straight time. We've had a lot of success here. Today, I'm deeply honored to receive the endorsements of more than 50 New Hampshire state legislators, many of whom are on stage with us and some of whom are in the audience because I think structurally, maybe the stage couldn't take it. But I just want to introduce them if I could quickly. They're great people. They went out there right from the beginning. Most of them have been with us right from the beginning, and we love them, and they're just special people. Representatives Kimberly Iber, Louis Andrus, Glenn Bailey, Harry Bean, Jacob Brouillard, Claudine Burnham. Hello, Claudine. Tim Cahill, Jose Cambrils, Brian Cole, Deborah DeSimone, Ron Dunn, Tracy Emmerich. Thank you, Tracy. Keith Erf, Larry Gagne, Ted Gorski, Gerald Griffin, Tina Harley, Juliet Harvey Bolia, Gregory Hill. Thank you, Gregory. Thomas Kuczynski, Diane Kelly, Stephen Kennedy, Abul Khan, John Levitt, Nikki McCarter, Valerie McDonald. Charles Melvin. Dane Nagel. Thank you, Dane. Christine Perez. Joseph Petre. Tom Plowsage. John Puderstick. Kevin Pratt. Arlene Quartiello. Andrew Renzolo. Jennifer Rhodes. Terry Roy. John Sellers. Thank you, John. Vanessa Sheehan. Lisa Smart. Look, these are endorsements. How good is this? Lisa Smart. Thank you. These are endorsements. James Spillane. Jonathan Stone. James Summers. Jeffrey Tenzar. Paul Terry. Dick Thaxton. Jordan Urlili. Jordan, thank you. Lily Walsh. Kenneth Weiler. Robert Wary. And Clayton Wood. And somebody said, do you think I should introduce them? It's 51. Should I do? I said, you know what? They were out there at the front. Many of them were here from the beginning. I said, I'll take the time. You know, I'm not sure if television's too thrilled. Look at all these people. I don't know if television's thrilled, but we're thrilled, right? We're thrilled. I also want to introduce Bruce Breton and Lou Gargiolo, who have been with us for a long time, right from the beginning. Thank you both. Right from the beginning. Thank you, Lou. Thank you. And I want to thank President of the New Hampshire Federation of College Republicans, Harrison Spalthorf. Harrison, wherever you may be. Thank you, Harrison. New Hampshire Federation of Republican Women President, Elizabeth Girard. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you. The founder of the 603 Alliance, Fran Windolbo. And also my New Hampshire senior advisor, who's been with me for a long time, Steve Stepanek. Thank you very much, Steve. Stand up. Great job. Great job from day one. My state director, Trevor Nuclearly. Trevor, thank you very much. As well as somebody who really did a great job, ran for office, did very well, Caroline Levitt. Thank you. Thank you. Did a great job. And a very good friend of mine is here today, and he lives here, and he loves this state very much, and he was the first person that was with me. He said, you'll do it. It was a long time ago, in 2015, maybe before that, but he's been a friend of mine for a long time, loves this state, and he's a political pro. Corey Lewandowski, where is he? Where is he? He's such a good guy. Thank you, Corey. And by the way, we will take a few questions if you want after we're finished. Is that okay? So I do that early so you can think. Otherwise, if I do it right at the end, that's the better way to do it. I'll finish and then I say, any questions? Okay, let's get out of here. Now you have a whole little time to think about it, but we'll take a few questions, okay? You think Biden takes questions? I don't think so. I don't think so. You saw yesterday, he had the cue card. He said, call this one. This is what she's going to ask, and here's the answer. They never did that with me in the White House, I can tell you. On Tuesday, Joe Biden officially announced that he will seek 4 more disastrous years in the White House. As you know, I've done very well against crooked Hillary Clinton, but Today, I'm going to do this, and I think this could be maybe the most important part of what I'm going to say, because this is going to be a major announcement. Are you ready? Is everybody ready? I will be retiring the name Crooked from Hillary Clinton and her moniker. And I'm going to give her a new name. I don't know, like maybe Lovely Hillary or Beautiful Hillary. But I'm going to retire the name Crooked so that we can use the name for Joe Biden, because he'll be known from now on as Crooked Joe Biden. You would think that we would be very happy today. She's out there someplace celebrating. Because there's never been anyone in the history of American politics so crooked or dishonest as Joe Biden. And the press absolutely refuses to report it, all that press back there. Because frankly, they're just as crooked as he is, and they are. They're just as crooked. The choice in this election is now between strength and weakness, between success or failure, between safety or anarchy, between peace or conflict, and prosperity or catastrophe. We are living in a catastrophe. With your vote on November 5th, 2024, we're going to crush Joe Biden and the White House, that gorgeous, beautiful White House. We have to take it back. We're going to beat him at the ballot box, and we're going to settle our unfinished business. It's unfinished. Biden announced his presidential campaign by, get this, a prepackaged video. I was going to do that for you today. I'll do a little video, send it up to New Hampshire. You wouldn't have been very happy about that. But when you're running for president, you think at least one time you'd get up and say, I'm running for president. Where am I going? Where the hell am I going? I want to get out. Oh, no, over there, over there. A package video that took supposedly 7 takes to get it right. If right is what you call it. In it, he says he's running because Trump and MAGA pose a threat to democracy. Can you believe it? I'm going to explain. MAGA is Make America Great, right? No threat there. No, it's Biden who poses the threat to democracy because he is grossly incompetent, has no idea what he's doing, and basically he doesn't have a clue. And that's a very bad position to put our country in. Our country is in a very dangerous position right now. Very, very dangerous. We're now in a nation, and we are a nation in serious decline, a nation that has lost its way. We're led by a hopeless person, but we will win in 2024 and make America great again. We can do it. It's not too late. It's not too late. But we've got a year and a half to go. That's a long time with what's happening to our country. That's a long time still. With such a calamitous presidency, it's almost inconceivable that Biden would have even thought of running for re-election. He's destroyed our country, and yet he says in his recorded piece that he wants to finish the job. That's right, he wants to finish the job of destroying our country. But on that, he's actually very close. He is very close to finishing the job, unfortunately. One of the most important issues in this campaign will be which candidate can rescue, and this country needs a rescuing. We have to rescue America from the wreckage of the Biden economy. Under my leadership, we built the greatest economy in the history of the world. In fact, we actually did it twice because that horrible gift from China came over. COVID, or the China virus, as many people say. Actually, in New Hampshire, you say China virus, pretty much. But now we will do it again. We will do it again. We passed the largest tax cuts and reforms in American history. We cut more job-killing regulations than any administration ever, also in history. We achieved American energy independence, and we were about set to do American energy dominance, bigger than Saudi Arabia, bigger than Russia combined, ×2. And we slashed the price of gasoline down all the way down to $1.87 a gallon. Doesn't that sound good? That's why you have this horrible inflation, because of what happened to your energy. Now everything's up. Now it's happening to everything. Thank you. Thanks to our policies, the typical New Hampshire family saw their annual income rise by $6,000, the largest increase in recorded history, the largest. Nobody's ever seen that, by $6,000. Everybody was happy. For decades, the corrupt globalist establishment savagely betrayed New Hampshire workers. You know that better than most. I see those beautiful factory buildings. Some are now apartment houses and some are now senior citizens, but the factories, that's what you had to do. The factories, there's so many gone. Your state lost 1 in 4 manufacturing jobs after the NAFTA disaster and China's entrance into the World Trade Organization. But after years of cruel sellouts by past leaders, I ended NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made. That was the worst trade deal ever made, what they did to us for so many decades, and replaced it with the incredible USMCA, Mexico, Canada. That's considered now the best trade deal ever made. So good, in fact, that Mexico and Canada are now trying to renegotiate the deal with the Biden administration. I say, don't do it. Don't talk about it. Don't do it. Somebody over there told me it's unfair. I said, you know what? We lived with unfair for decades. Now they say it's unfair. No, we made a great deal, and you're all manufacturers, farmers, everybody is benefiting. USMCA, we're very proud of that. Don't let them renegotiate. I withdrew from job-crushing Trans-Pacific Partnership. That would have totally destroyed this country. They were all set to sign. Obama, Barack Hussein Obama, they were all set to sign it. And I stood up to China like no administration has ever done before. Bringing in hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars, pouring into our treasury from China when no other president had gotten even 10 cents. Not one president, little cents. We got hundreds. I don't think they like it, but that's okay. Well, everybody else is paid off by China, including, by the way, our president. Okay. It's a big problem. You wonder why he does nothing about China, why he doesn't do what he's supposed to be doing, because he got millions of dollars from China. You see it. I made big promises to the people of New Hampshire, and as your president, I kept every single promise. When China unfairly targeted our lobstermen, I gave them hundreds of millions of dollars in relief straight from the money we were taking in from China. We took a little bit out, like a little bit's hundreds of millions of dollars, by the way, but that's a lot to a lobsterman. And we brought it back. I made a deal with the European Union to completely eliminate tariffs on American lobster. You know that. They were charging us big tariffs so that we couldn't sell to them. The first EU tariff reduction on any product in over 20 years. Nobody ever asked the EU, or if they did, they didn't get it, because they're very difficult people to deal with. I want to tell you that. They don't care about us. They care about them. And maybe that's the way it's supposed to be, right? I also opened up 5,000 square miles of ocean that Barack Obama closed to New England fishermen. You know about that. But you also know I opened them up totally. Nobody could even tell me why they closed. They get miles and miles of beautiful ocean front. And now I understand that they want to close it up again. Is that true? I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Yeah, let Canada do all. You know, Canada's the one that wanted it closed because they would do the business. And gave our farmers $28 billion out of the tariffs that we took in from China because they were treated very unfairly. I said, how much would it be? They said, approximately $28 billion. Say, I'm going to take it from China. China paid them $28 billion. Who else is going to do that one, okay? Tell that one to President Xi. You mind giving our farmers $28 billion? Actually, better than that, we signed an incredible trade deal with China. But once it came in, I didn't care about trade deals so much, but it's a tremendous trade deal, $50 billion. And it was an amazing deal. But once COVID came in, I didn't even talk about it. In everything I did, I put New Hampshire first and I put America first, everything. When I left office, we handed Joe Biden the fastest economic recovery ever recorded, all with no inflation. We didn't have inflation. We had low energy prices that kept it down. When he stopped the energy, stopped the drilling, you know, I have a sign, drill with us, right? They have a sign, don't drill. We won't just, they won't do it. They won't do it. What they're doing is crazy. And what it's done is raised everything. And now everything's so high, and now they've taken on their own inflationary trend. It's not just energy anymore. But they did that with energy. They destroyed our economy with the high prices. All electric cars. Oh, that's wonderful. Everybody, they don't have enough electric to turn on the lights. And now they're going to say, let's do all electric. I love electric cars. They go for about an hour and a half. Then you're in the middle of nowhere. You're saying, how do I get this thing charged up? He took that booming economy and he promptly blew it to shreds. He took the greatest economy in history. It was just announced that in the first quarter of 2023, GDP growth was a very weak 1.1%, and the forecasts show it's going to be getting much, much worse. So we're at 1% and getting worse. That doesn't sound too prosperous, does it? Look at these other countries that are eating our lunch. I had them. They were doing anything they could. They respected your leader. They respected your country. I want to tell you, they saw me coming. They weren't happy. They weren't happy. Every time France or one of the countries, but France in particular, they were a little difficult. I really like their leader, but he's a very difficult guy. And whenever he got cute and wanted to tax our people or our companies, I just said, that's okay. We're going to put a 100% tariff on all wine and champagne coming into the United States. They would say, no, 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 we will not do it. We have decided we won't do it. No, but I don't think they do that. I don't think they do that in this group here. We should have tremendous power. We have tremendous economic power that we don't use. But, you know, we better be smart, because soon we're not going to have economic power. We're not going to have anything. Since Joe Biden took office, the typical family has lost over $7,400 in annual income. Think of that. Inflation is out of control. Banks are collapsing. Banks are going bad. That's a bad sign. You remember 1929, it started with the banks. Real wages are down 24 months in a row, the longest losing streak ever in our country. Think of that, real wages. That's what it's all about, is real wages. The trade deficit has surged to a record $1 trillion. Household wealth has declined by $4 trillion. These are numbers that nobody's ever seen before. You know, the economy is good. The economy is horrible. After Biden shut down the Keystone XL pipeline that I started and passed a $20 billion tax hike on American energy, gas prices in New Hampshire are up 53%. And your state, congratulations, you did have one good thing from this administration. You set a record, if you like records, but not like this. Your state has the highest electricity costs in the entire nation. Tell your governor he ought to work on that a little bit. You know that, Steve? You have the highest cost in the entire nation. I will quickly be able to cut that number in half or more than that. I'll do that. Nobody knew that. New Hampshire has the highest electricity costs, I think the highest energy costs, but highest electricity costs in the nation. Let's go to all electric cars. How does that sound, right? You have the highest electric costs in the nation. They don't want to give you, they don't want you driving. You're like, how about driving for about an hour and 15 minutes? And then say, it's time to get a charge. Joe Biden cares only about enriching his own family. I care about enriching your family and you. A Biden victory will be bad for you, good for China, and truly great for these globalists. We got a lot of globalists. A Trump victory will be bad for the globalists, the rhinos, the communists, the Marxists, but it will be great for the hardworking people of New Hampshire. Within hours of my inauguration, I will begin the process of terminating every Biden policy that is brutalizing New Hampshire and all U.S. workers. I will restore my famously successful executive order requiring that for every one new regulation, 2 old regulations must be eliminated. That was so successful. You remember that when I did that? And I was actually getting 12, 13, 14 cut down. It was amazing, actually. But they put many of them back. But they haven't been able to up your taxes yet because we have a very strong bill. We went through everything to make sure that nobody could tamper with it. But they're trying to raise your taxes very greatly. Instead of growing the size and scope of the federal government every year, we will shrink it every year with aggressive cost reduction targets for each federal department. But we'll take care of our military. We have to. We have no choice. A lot of bad actors out there looking to do harm. We will take care of our military. You know, I rebuilt our entire military. They gave $85 billion of it to Afghanistan, but in probably the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, $85 billion worth of brand new military equipment. I will create a true national trade policy like the kind that made New Hampshire a manufacturing and industrial powerhouse in the old days. Remember the old days? You see those buildings all over and you say, wow. I did a great job in renegotiating trade deals with other countries. They were the worst, the most horrible deals I've ever seen. I'd often wonder to myself, who the hell negotiated these deals? They were so bad. You'd say they were either like very, very stupid people or they hated our country. It could only be one of two. I think both. Yeah, I think both. I think maybe both. Now, the worst deals I've ever seen with Japan and with South Korea, Mexico, Canada, China, all of these countries, it was just amazing how bad they were. You know, like South Korea, we take care of their economy. We take care of everything. We take care of the military. They're right next door to Kim Jong-un. He and I have a very good relationship. People would say, it's not good to have a good relationship. Yeah, it's very good to have a good relationship. It really is. But he's not so happy with Biden. He says bad things about Biden. But what I really wanted to do, the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act, you know what that is? That will go along with the Trump tax cuts, which they haven't been able to terminate because we've drawn them so powerfully under the Reciprocal Trade Act. This is, think of this, every country, do we have any children here? No. Couple. Close, that's such a good looking guy. Put your hands over your ears. Every country, he'll hear it soon enough. Every country is screwing us, right? So they've all charged us taxes and trade barriers. India, China, everyone. Europe, by the way, all over Europe. Under the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act, if India, as an example, or China, Europe, any place, any country charges us, let's say 100% or 200%, that's what they do. You could ask Harley Davidson, you could ask a lot of companies that are unable to put their product into these countries because what they do, they make it impossible. We immediately charge them the exact same thing. It's called reciprocal. Reciprocal. So if India charges our companies 100, we charge their companies 100. It's very simple. And yet we have people in Congress that say, no, I don't think that's good. Anybody that says that's no good, very interesting. Lindsey Graham, the progressive from South Carolina. No, he's a progressive, but he's got some good things too, okay? But Lindsey Graham, I said to him, Lindsey, you got to go along with this. We were all set to get it done. You got to go along with this. He says, so let me get this straight. If they charge us, we charge them the same thing. He said it's not his strength. Other things are his strength. He said, so They charge us, we charge them, same thing, right? Yeah, you got my vote. That's so easy. But, you know, well, you have guys in there that I guess campaign contributions are much worse than that. Maybe campaign contributions that aren't recorded. But can you imagine? But we were close to getting that done, and then the election was rigged. But we would have had that done and done very, very quickly. One of two things will happen. They will get rid of the tariffs on us. They'll most likely get rid of them if you start doing this, because we have countries that it's so imbalanced, so unfair. The deficits are massive. As an example, with China, $600 billion we lose every year. I got it down, way down. And then we had a little surprise on an election, and they're way up now. They're doing better than they've ever done. But they'll leave them. The United States will make a fortune on this. The United States will make an absolute fortune, get rid of your deficits, and other countries won't go around saying we're stupid people, because that's what they say right now. We're stupid people to allow this to happen, where they charge us and we don't charge them. Cars, as an example, in China, you make a car in America, send it to China, you have to pay a fortune to get it in. You have like 9 different tax structures. They can make cars and send them into us. We did put some taxes on, though, I will tell you that. I was ready to get all of this passed, and we had great support when we got hit with the election, and we got hit with the COVID, and we got hit with everything you could get hit with, and then we rebuilt it, and we had the stock market actually higher than it was just prior to COVID. When you think of it, pretty amazing. Regeneron, so many different things we did. We did a great job. We never got credit for that one. They give Biden credit. He doesn't know he's alive. I mean, jeez. Under the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act, companies, factories, and jobs will come roaring back into our country, and massive deficits that we've been paying for decades and it's going to disappear. The deficits will disappear almost overnight. I will also revoke China's most favored nation trade status. Do you believe it? They were given a most favored nation because they say they're a growing nation. Well, we're a growing nation also, okay? If they're a growing nation, then we're a growing nation. I will gain total independence from China economically. I'll hold the Chinese Communist Party accountable for unleashing the China virus upon the world. And nobody can pay the cost of what that costs. The lives, number one, the lives, all of the millions and millions of lives. But you're talking about $50 to $60 trillion. China doesn't have it. Nobody has that. But something will happen. There's going to be something happening. Just like I got $28 billion for the farmers, something's going to happen, because what took place there is disgraceful. And it did come from the Wuhan labs, as I said, from day one. Biden is proposing a $4.7 trillion tax hike. Congratulations. I, on the other hand, will deliver tax cuts, energy price cuts, and interest rates cuts, the likes of which you have never seen before. Your interest rates are so high, your housing values are going down, and the economy is doing terribly. Unlike Ron DeSantis, the Bushes, the Ryans, the Roves, Karl Rove, he's another beauty, the Rhinos, and the Democrats, I will always protect Social Security and Medicare for our great seniors. I will end Joe Biden's war on American energy and immediately begin the process of expediting construction of new natural gas pipelines to New England. Again, you pay the highest prices in the country. You know, for a long time, the Democrats in New York would not allow a pipeline to go through from where they were coming through New York State, where they could really use the jobs, really use the jobs, into New England. You know where you get a lot of your energy from? Is Russia. They have Russian ships out there. For years, they've had Russian ships. And if they did a pipeline going through a place in New York State that needs it so badly, they need the jobs, this would be a positive. And you don't see it. It's underground, and the environmentalists and the governors. And once you get that done, I'll tell you, and I will do it. We'll do whatever you have to do. I'll get it done. It's a simple pipeline. New York has fought it off for years. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. Your prices will drop in half and much more than that. You're paying so much higher than anybody else. That's the reason. But we love New York other than that, right? Okay, other than that. But no, they have to do that. They have to do that. We're all part of a team. And if you want to buy a car powered by an internal combustion engine or a hybrid, or if you want to buy an electric car, some people like an electric car, like what, 4% of the people? You'll be able to do it long into the future. We're going to put it all back. And if you want to have a gas stove, you're going to be able to have a gas stove. Can you imagine them saying you can only buy electric cars when they don't go far enough, they don't drive long enough, when some people don't like them, and when the batteries are all made 100% in China or in areas that China controls? Who is coming up when we have more liquid gold under our feet than any other country, including Saudi Arabia and Russia? But we're not allowed to use it. The electric car takes so much energy to create the battery that they won't break even environmentally. If you're a believer in that, the making of the battery throws off more, let's call it dirt into the air, than anything you're going to do by driving one of our very beautiful cars around for a long period of time. So they don't say it. But very importantly, China has all the minerals, has everything you need to make the batteries. They're going to make them. We don't have that. We have everything. We don't have that. This is opposition research. This is really incredible. When you look at it, I started saying about a month ago, I realized how crazy the borders, ridiculous. We don't want to open borders. April Fools, right? Remember, it's like everything's April Fool's Day. All electric cars, April Fool's Day. I don't mind electric cars. You should have everything. Some people might like electric. Some people might like something else. Some people might like a motor scooter. Let them get whatever the hell they want. But to force them, when we don't have enough electricity for ourselves, you go out to California, they want all electric cars, and yet they have brownouts during the summer and blackouts. The whole state goes out, and then they say, oh, let's hook up another couple of million cars. The whole thing is crazy. It's crazy. And that's why I say April Fools, everything. They don't want voter ID. How simple is voter ID? We don't want voter ID. Why don't they want voter ID? Because they want to cheat. That's all. Our opponents know that no one can match us on the economy. And that's the reason that we're way up in the polls. We have polls. I'm going to show you a couple of them. So today, a very respected poll came out. Emerson, big poll. It has Trump. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I love you too. That's why I'm doing this. I had a nice life. I didn't have to go before grand juries every time I fly over a state. If I fly over a state that happens to be Democrat run, they send me a subpoena to go before a grand jury. These people are sick. They're weaponizing that stuff. But, these polls are amazing. So today's very, very important and big Emerson poll came out. So it has Trump at 62%, DeSantis at 16, Mike Pence at 7. Obviously, people are dreaming of energy independence, a strong military like you had, and borders and low taxes that are strong. We want strong borders. We want low taxes. We want low interest rates. We want to be respected throughout the world, not laughed at. We're laughed at. I said in a speech recently, somebody said, what do you think about Xi? I said, he's a very powerful, strong man. He's at the top of his game. The fake news media said, how dare they say that? I said, what am I going to say? We'll find people. No, he's the same thing with other leaders. They're short, they're smart, they're at the top of their game. He's not close, and he never really had a top of the game if you go back 25 years. In this week's big morning consult poll, that's another big one, Trump is leading by 30 last week. I don't know if you've seen these, Steve. These are good. It makes Steve's job easy. Don't assume that, Steve. Just keep working, because under the Clarity campaign poll, a big one, I lead by 45 points at 65, with DeSantis being at 20%, Pence at 4%, Nikki Haley at 4%, and sloppy Chris Christie at less than 1%. Which, by the way, is substantially better than he did 7 years ago on the same stage against me right here in New Hampshire. Remember, he was less than 1%. So now he's still less than 1%, but he's doing much better, you know? Got a big mouth, that's all he's got. In Massachusetts, your neighbor, 70% for Trump. And in the Florida Voice poll, this is Florida we're talking about, 80% for Trump, 80. In a great place, South Carolina, we have a 22-point lead. In the victory poll of Iowa, it's Trump 54, DeSantis at 24. And in the new JL poll of New Hampshire, we're 33 points. Think of that one. 33 points up. I just saw that. That's pretty good. You're doing a good job, Steve. You're doing a good job. We're at 51% with all these people running, all these people. 51, we're up 33 points, but we will not play prevent defense. You ever see the NFL? They hold a team scoreless for almost 4 quarters. They just have to do it one more time, one more series, and they say, we're going to go prevent. Touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. We don't play prevent defense. It prevents you from winning. Prevent defense prevents you from winning. That's the worst defense. I don't like it. When I see if you're with a team and they go prevent, say, bet on the opponent. And then they want to do something on the debates. Think of this. They want to debate. They want to have, I have people at 1/2 of 1%, 1/4 of 1%, 1%, 3%, 2%, 4%, 7%. And DeSantis is very low and crashing. He's crashing and burning. Don't forget, when he came to me, he was at 3%. So he failed in his campaign. Then I endorsed him, which I could have done without, but I endorsed him and he went up a lot. But he went up and he won. But when he campaigned for a long time, he failed. And now he's failing again, because now he's getting a chance to campaign without Trump, to put it mildly. To put it mildly. But so these debates, you know, Nixon and Reagan and Bush number 1, others. No, they didn't debate in the primaries. They didn't debate. I mean, seriously, you look at the boards and you see these things, 1%, 1%, 2%, 1%, 3%. And you're looking at these numbers and we're at 60 and 70%. Why would you do that? You want intelligent people, don't you, to be running your country? But I do look forward to the debate with Joe. No, corrupt. With Crooked Joe. No, I look forward to that. Remember last time I said, where and why did you accept $3.5 million? Remember that? Why did you accept, on the debate stage, I had that guy, Chris Wallace. How's he doing? How's his career going? Not too good. He always wanted to be his father, Mike, but somehow it didn't work out. It's called lack of talent. But think of this. Think of this. Remember on the debate stage, I said to Biden, I said, why did you accept $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife? And Chris Wallace, he didn't know how to answer the question. Chris Wallace said, you shouldn't be asking that question. I said, has a lot to do. Why did he get $3.5 million from Moscow? He didn't do anything for it. And Chris Wallace stopped him from giving an answer, which he didn't have, by the way. Saved him. They want me to go to the Reagan Library, as an example, which is, nobody knew this until I brought it up yesterday, which is run by a guy named Fred Ryan. He is the chairman and CEO of the Washington Post. Can you believe it? This could only happen. The Washington Post, the enemy of the people, the Washington Post, think of this, is running the Reagan Library. I think Ronald Reagan would be spinning in his grave, okay? But you say, how did that happen? But they want me to go. And sadly, your governor, Sununu, doesn't register. No, sort of a isn't he a nasty guy? You know, it's funny, his father was very, very tough. But when I won, he became one of my best supporters. He really was. He really was great. But he was really tough. This guy doesn't have the same qualities. But you know what? You think of it. He could have run. He could have had a Senate seat. Would have helped so much. You know, he's playing games. But Sununu, if you take a look at what he's done, it's crazy. We're leading him, I guess, 58% to 7 in your state. You saw the poll, 58 to 7. And now if he ran for the Senate, he probably couldn't win even, you know, if you put him back in that same position. But he could have really made an impact. He could have run for the Senate, would have probably easily won because of the family name, would have won. And that would have been a tremendous thing. Instead, he wants to play games with running for president where he's registered at less than 1%. I don't think he's going to make it. If he made it, it would be the biggest upset in the history of politics, any country. We'll include every single country all over the world. And he should stop being a nasty guy and telling people that I won't win in the general election, which I will. Remember? Speaking of which, we're leading Biden by 7 points in Rasmussen poll. We're leading him by 7 points in the Harvard poll, Harvard-Harris, and by 11 points in another poll. And by the way, the same people that said the same thing in 2016, well, maybe he'll win here, but he's not going to win in the general election. They love that. That's the only narrative they have left. But we're winning against everybody, and we're doing just as well in the general election. But it was the same people. I went in and I said, boy, I get killed in this. They say, he's not going to win in the election. And then I won. And then I won a second time by far more votes, but it was a rigged election. So, you know, what are you going to do? And that's the thing I asked Steve and all the people up here, because these are incredible people. I don't even care if you help me campaign. You don't have to help me. What I want you to do is help me on election evening, which is no longer election evening. It's election period. Because these people have like a month and 2 months to look around and play around with the votes. How people let this happen. We got to go to all paper ballots, voter ID, same day voting, one day. How about some of these guys? The votes aren't final until 2 weeks after the election. You say, how do you tabulate the result? What do everybody wait? The nation waits? It's a disgrace what's happened. And I asked the people on stage, and we have a lot of people in the audience that are great politicians and very important for your state, I don't want help. I don't even want help with the vote. I just want help on making sure the vote is cast and counted fairly. You know, Lenin, did anyone ever hear of Lenin? He said, the vote counter is far more important than the candidate. Has anyone ever heard that? Lenin, as they say in Russia. But no, the vote counter is far more important. It's very sad. We did so unbelievable. We got more votes than any sitting president by far. We got millions of more votes than Barack Hussein Obama. I was told if we got the same number, we can't lose. We got millions more, millions and millions more. And well, we thought we won until about 10:15 in the evening. Then all of a sudden we said, what's going on here? Now we gotta straighten out our borders. We gotta straighten out our elections, because we're like a third world country. These incredible poll numbers are one of the main reasons that the Marxist left is coming after us, using the criminal justice system for massive election interference. That's what they're doing. They want to weaponize law enforcement to interfere with our elections through the use of the DOJ and the attorney generals and local district attorneys who actually, you know, the district attorney we have in New York, he's reporting into Washington. They sent one of the top guys from Washington to help him run his office. That's beautiful. Isn't it a wonderful life? But in the end, they're not coming after me. They're coming after you, and I'm just standing in their way. I'm just standing. I will always stand in their way. But we can't let that happen, because that's going to a lower level even than what happened in 2020. That's going, in my opinion, to a lower level that even happened in 2020. And they're working on, I got more DAs and local people nobody ever heard of. We want the president in to testify. On what? I have nothing to do with it. Well, we want him in anyway to testify. Maybe he'll make a mistake. Maybe he'll do something. It's a disgrace. What's happening with our country is a disgrace, and it's a laughingstock all over the world. As the endless witch hunts and persecutions reveal, our enemies are desperate to stop us because they know we are the only ones who can stop them. They know that. There's never been a movement like this. By the way, in the history of our country, there's never been a movement like MAGA, Make America Great Again. There's never been a movement. We've never had a movement. And with all of the, I'm looking, it's a lot of fake news. With all of the news back there, nobody's ever questioned it. You know, if I say something and I'm like slightly off, they say, oh, he made a mistake. He this, that, you know, these people. I've never been challenged. I say it all the time. Are you hearing me? There's never been a movement in history like MAGA, Make America Great Again. But unlike other politicians, the harder our enemies hit me, the stronger and more determined we are. And that's as a party and as a movement itself. They hit me and we're all together. I'm with you, you're with me. And the harder they hit, the better we do. You saw that a couple of weeks ago with these fakers. In recent months, I've been laying out a bold, forward-looking vision for what we will do when we become the 47th president of the United States. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, shortly after I win the presidency, I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine settled. It would have never happened. That war would have. I spoke to Putin about it. There was no chance that he would have gone in with me as president. And there was no chance that President Xi of China would have gone into Taiwan. I was the only president in decades who didn't start a war. You know that. Everyone said, oh, he's going to start a war because they said I had that personality to start a war. They remember that? Oh, we can't vote for him. He's going to start a war. No, I used my personality that we didn't have to have wars. And I got out of wars, including knocking the hell out of ISIS, took over 100% of the ISIS caliphate. 100%. I took over 99% of the ISIS caliphate. I said, all right, we're going home. Let's get our great soldiers. We're bringing them home. And the media started saying, well, why not 100? I said, you know what? We better finish it off because they'll say I left early and we knocked the hell out of them. That was the end of that. We took over 100%. We came home. But now I understand they're rebuilding again because they have no respect for our country. Standing before you today, I am the only candidate who can make this promise. I will prevent World War III. I promise. Not going to be a World War III. And very sadly, there's never been talk like what you're hearing now, because this guy doesn't have a clue how to speak. He's too tough when he should be soft. He's too soft when he should be tough. He says things that are so bad, provokes, and then shows weakness. It's the craziest thing. He says just the opposite of what you have to say. I know Putin very well. I know Xi very well. I know Kim Jong-un. If I didn't take over from Obama, if he had another year, you would have had a nuclear war with Kim Jong-un of North Korea. You would have had a nuclear war. Then when I got along with him, everyone hated. The fake news hated that I got along. He gets along. Isn't it a good thing to get along with a guy with 5,000 nuclear weapons? That's okay. But I did get along with him. I got along with a lot of people that people are surprised, really surprised. That's why we had no wars, and they would have never gone in. And it's so all those people dead in Ukraine, far more than you think, far more than they report, these phony numbers where a city is blown up, buildings all crushed to the ground, there's nothing standing, and they say nobody was killed, 2 people were hurt. Hundreds of people, thousands of people were killed. These numbers are far greater and far worse than you hear. When I get back into the Oval Office, we will totally obliterate the deep state. We will establish a Truth and Reconciliation Commission to declassify and publish all documents on deep state spying, censorship, and corruption. By the way, they spied on my campaign. They got caught. Can you imagine if let's take Barack Hussein Obama. Let's say we spied on his campaign, you got caught. What do you think would happen? You think it would just be some stories in only a few newspapers, because most of them don't even want to write it. They would have brought back the electric chair. That's what they would have done. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace, unequal justice. And I will require every federal employee to pass a new civil service test. How about the president? Let's start with the president. Demonstrating an understanding of our Constitution. To stop the local Marxist prosecutors who release rapists and murderers while persecuting conservatives. On day one of my new administration, I will direct the DOJ to investigate every radical district attorney and attorney general in America for their illegal, racist, in reverse enforcement of the law. I will quickly restore the most secure border in U.S. history, just as we had 3 years ago. We had the strongest, most powerful, most secure border in the history of our country. 3 years ago, we had the most secure. We built hundreds of miles of wall. It worked, by the way. Then we were going to do 200 more miles of wall in certain areas where we could see it was a little weaker than we wanted it. We started that. Could have been finished in 3 weeks if he did it. We had the stuff ordered. He took it away and hid it so that Texas and Arizona couldn't use it. And that's what I said. I guess they really do want open borders, and they actually want open borders, and nobody understands why. Why do you want to have people from prisons? Why do they want that? Why do you want people from prisons and mental institutions and insane asylums? That's a step above. That's Silence of the Lamb type, okay? Why do we want these people in our country? Why are we allowing them? And you know, you have to see these other countries. They've never had it so good. Their prisons are emptied out into the U.S. They have no more costs. They don't want to take care of these people for 70 years, which is what you could have. I mean, they have this MS-13. You saw what happened yesterday with this killer, this thug. He was an MS-13. The level of violence, they called it demonic. The level of violence is incredible. We have become a dumping ground for the entire world. The money they save, no prisons, no mental institutions. There was a story recently about a psychologist or psychiatrist, but a psychologist who worked in mental wards in South America. And he said, a good man, he worked 24 hours a day taking care of very mentally ill people. And he was sitting there reading a newspaper, and they asked him, what's he doing? He said, I have no more work. The people have all been let go into the United States. Can you believe this is what we're doing? How stupid are we? This is what we're doing. And this you pay for. I mean, sure, we can get a lot of them out, but this is what we're paying for. And the crime, you have not seen anything. Wait till you see this. But he said they've let them go in the United States. But this is not true with the 3 or 4 countries that we think of, Honduras and Mexico, El Salvador. This isn't just that little area. This is all over the world. They're letting them in from all over the world. They're coming in. They're coming through the southern border, and we had it stopped up. One of the very first bills I signed will be for a massive increase in Border Patrol and colossal increase in the number of ICE deportation officers. We're going to follow the Eisenhower model. People don't realize it with Eisenhower. He was very tough on illegal immigration. A lot of people don't realize that. He was really tough on illegal immigration. We will use all necessary state, local, federal, and military resources to carry out the largest domestic deportation operation in American history. And they'll take them back, too. You know that story. They weren't taking them back, and I said, good, if they don't take, they weren't taking them back for decades. And the generals came up there, sure, they won't take them back, sir. And I said, well, do we give them any money, like any kind of subsidies or anything? Yes, sir. I'd like to find out. So it comes back $750 million. Yes, 750. So I said, listen, the three countries. I said, no more money for them starting this afternoon at 5 o'clock. The next morning, I got 3 calls from 3 presidents of 3 countries. Nice people. They're smart. I don't hold it against them. They got away with it for years. They'd put airplanes on the runways when we're flying in with prisoners or MS-13 people that you don't want in this country. Believe me, these are vicious, the most violent gang in the world, probably, almost definitely. And they'd put airplanes so you couldn't land the plane. So I said, how much? 750. I said, here's what we're doing. Immediately, you're going to stop payment of all money going to these countries. You're going to stop payment now. Next day, I get 3 calls. The presidents of those countries, separate calls, totally. Sir, I understand there's a misunderstanding. Yeah, we want your MS-13 killers that you sent over here. We want them back. And we want everybody to go back to your country. We want them. We're going to bring them back. Sir, we'd be honored to take MS-13 back. We think they're lovely people. What seems to be the problem? No, we would love to take them back. Immediately opened up. Nobody has seen that for 25 years. It took me one night. We would be honored. It would be a great honor to bring back MS-13 so they can kill our people instead of yours. No, it's terrible. The people that run our country are stupid people. I will ask every state and federal agency to identify every known or suspected gang member in America. And by the way, our police are incredible. Our firemen are incredible. Our police are incredible. And you know what? They know the bad ones. They're in the cities. These Democrat-run cities are going to hell. The whole world is watching. But these police are incredible. They know the bad ones, but they don't want to lose their pension. They don't want to lose their wife or their husband. They don't want to lose their home. So they're told to stand back, but they know every bad one. They know everything about it. But I'll ask every state and federal agency to identify every known or suspected gang member in America, and every one of them that is here illegally. The police know every one of them. We'll pick them up and we'll send them back home where they came from. They'll be out of here. And I will restore my travel ban to keep radical Islamic terrorists out of our country. You saw what happened. 4 years. 4 years we went. 4 years. You saw that, right? We were very tough on that. We don't want our buildings blown up. We don't want to have problems. The Biden border crisis is also a drug and fentanyl crisis and a human trafficking crisis like never before, mostly with women, very sadly, mostly with women. And it's now the number is 12 times what it was 3 years ago, 12 times. We had it really down. We were so tough on that, what they do with women and to women. Under my administration, we reduced drug overdose deaths in New Hampshire by 18%. 18. We had it 15, then we had it 18. And our First Lady worked very hard on that, I will tell you. She worked very hard on that. And instead of being down under Biden, as you know, and your police and firemen do an incredible job, you have a real big drug problem in New Hampshire, incredible, almost worse than anybody, relatively speaking. That's what the governor should focus on, not running for president where he's at less than 1%. That's what he should focus on. But you have a real problem here, and I have to tell you, your police and your firemen, I spent time with them, and they took me around one day, and the job they do on saving people, a lot of the job they do is saving people that have overdosed. It's incredible. The drug cartels are waging war in America, and it's time that America is going to wage war. That's what we're going to do. We're going to wage war on the cartels. We're being invaded. Our country is being invaded and destroyed. I will knock out the cartels just as we destroyed and knocked out the ISIS caliphate. The ISIS caliphate is tougher. I was told you couldn't do it it would take 3 to 4 years to do it. And sir, I don't think we could do it at all. I did it in 3 weeks. I knocked them out in 3 weeks. We have great generals. I want not the guys on television that leave Afghanistan before they take out our equipment and our American citizens, where we lost 13 great people. And nobody ever says this, where many soldiers were just obliterated. Their arms, their legs, their face, obliterated. because of people that didn't know how to do their job. And why aren't these people fired? Why aren't they fired? And I will ask Congress to pass legislation ensuring that drug dealers, drug kingpins, and human traffickers receive the death penalty, because it's the only way you're going to stop it. You know, I went to China and I had a great time, and it was amazing, amazing culture, frankly. And I was with President Xi. 1.4 to 1.5 billion people. I said, you have a drug problem? No. No drug problem. I said, you mean with all these people, you don't have a drug problem? No drug problem. Well, what do you ascribe the reason to, may I ask? I think I knew. He said, swift trial. You know, there's no games with it. These people, you know, when you meet with President Xi, he doesn't say, gee, how'd the Yankees do last night? Oh, we have a lovely day. Lovely day. Isn't it beautiful out? Oh, it's so beautiful, Donald. It's so great. He goes, we will immediately proceed to work. And you know what? I love that. I think that's great. There's no bullshit. Okay? I think that's great. We will proceed. You meet him for 2 minutes. We will proceed. There's no games. Yeah, how did the Boston Red Sox do today? No, they don't talk about that stuff. They talk about other things. But I said to him, so what do you think? He says, quick trial. Quick trial. You know what a quick trial is? They take the person, they try the person, and if they're a drug dealer, if they're selling drugs, unfortunately, they have the death penalty. And I don't think this country's ready for it. But they have no drug problem whatsoever. The big drug problem they have is they make drugs and send them into our country, like fentanyl. And even that, I had him set, except for this rigged election, he was set to make that a criminal, an absolute crime, with a death penalty for anybody making fentanyl. But once I left, once this horrible election took place, they send more over now than ever before. He was going to give the death penalty. That was his deal with me. He was going to give the death penalty to anybody that produced fentanyl. Can you believe that in China? It's too bad. All these people are dying all over. We're being invaded. It's like a human invasion. To combat the scourge of homelessness that is plaguing Democrat-run cities such as Manchester, I will use every possible authority to get the homeless off the streets immediately. It's so bad. It's so sad. And you know, you have great hearts, especially the people of New Hampshire. And you know, you don't want to even talk about it. You don't want to say, gee, there's 15 people laying in front of my building. You know, you feel badly about it, but you gotta do something. For a small fraction of what we spend in Ukraine, we could take every single homeless veteran in America and take care of them. Likewise, with all the money we will save by ending mass unskilled migration. That's what it is, mass unskilled. You see where in California now they're giving them medical care, education. They're getting treated better than our veterans are treated. And you know, when they see that, they all come. They say, oh, you mean you're going to give us free medical? Can you, this is not even believable. In California, free, and other places, free medical, education. The classrooms, you have people that can't even speak English and they're sitting all over the classroom. It's killing our country. But we will have a huge dividend to address the homeless crisis in our own country. We're going to save a tremendous amount of money. We're going to take care of them. We will get the homeless into tent cities, shelters, rehab, and mental and get our cities. And living like that is no good for them, the homeless, and it's no good for the people that have to make our cities great again. You can't make your cities great when you have thousands of people laying all over the streets. To uphold our Second Amendment, I will ask Congress to put a bill on my desk delivering national concealed carry reciprocity. And I will immediately restore free speech in America. We've lost our free speech. And we've lost our press. We've lost our media. It's so sad what happens to them. They don't report. It's not even what they report. They don't report. They didn't report the Biden stuff. They knew about it. They had the 51 intelligence agents. You saw that? Where they said, yes, Russian disinformation. We don't have to report it. These are corrupt people. This is this. And everybody knew that wasn't true. And we will take care of our amazing veterans, and We did it, for 4 years. We had a 92% rating at the VA, at the vet. 92%. We did a great job. It's the highest rating by far that they've ever had. On day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content on our children. I will also support parents' rights. Can you believe I have to say that? Parents' rights. Can you believe I'm saying I will support parents' rights? Can you imagine 15 years ago saying, I will support parents' rights? So people would look at you and say, this guy's crazy. Parents' rights, of course. Who wouldn't support that? There are people that don't want the parents to have any rights, including the direct election of school principals by the parents, so you can get people that you want. If any principal is not getting the job done, the parents should be able to vote and fire him, get him out, get somebody that will get it done. And I will not give 1 penny to any school that has a vaccine mandate or a mask mandate. Crazy. We did a great job, but we didn't mandate anything. The Democrat governors would run their states, and generally they did those mandates, and they were disasters. And a lot of them, they really did it right, Republican governors, when you look at what happened. And I will tell you another thing that people can't even believe. I will keep men out of women's sports, okay? No, did you ever hear of anything like that? You saw the other day the weightlifter and this young woman, 19-year record. Well, I don't know what it is, 200 and some odd pounds. It's a lot. It's a lot for a man or for a woman to lift, but it's a lot. And this record stood, woman's record for years, 19 years or something. And she got over the barbell. They put like a little tiny ounce on one side, ounce on the other. This thing was, if you beat it by an ounce, you have the world record. And she got up there and, should I do it? I'm gonna do it. She couldn't do it. Then a guy came along, who happens to be a woman now, according to the laws of our country. And he looked at it. They said, have you lifted before? Not really. Let's take a look. He looks at it, goes, he has the record by like 90 pounds or something. Like, it is so stupid. It is so unfair. The swimmer you know about, right? The swimmer. She's a great swimmer. Great, great, great swimmer. She's going for the world record. She looked up and down. She sees young ladies that she grew up with. They're all great swimmers. They've been from the time they were born, frankly, because that's the way it is. They were good from the time they were born. Jack Nicklaus was a great golfer from the first day he picked up a club. That's the way it goes, right? You know, they were great. She looked up. She sees her friend. She looks down. Then she looked to her right, and there's this huge person. Looked like Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt the Stilt. He was 7'1". Now looked like with a wingspan. He was built like this. She was built, I'm sorry, like this. Most perfect body. I wish I had a body like that. I would have been president 20 years ago if I had this body. It comes down like this. And she looks, she says, wow, oh, whoa, I wonder how she swims. And you know, the young lady was very seriously injured. You know that, right? Windburn, because he went by her so fast. The wind was so great. She got a bad, bad windburn, but she'll be okay. Now, do you think, does anybody really believe what's going on in this country? I will sign a law prohibiting child sexual mutilation in all 50 states. And this is what we must do to save our country from destruction. 2024 is the final battle. If we don't take it over, we're not going to have a country anymore. I want to be positive. I'm just telling you, we're not going to, if we allow them to cheat, because it's the only way they're going to win the election. If we allow them to cheat again, you're not going to have a country. If you put me back in the White House, the reign of corrupt Washington establishment will be over and America will be a free nation once again. With your support in this election, we are going to complete the mission. We are going to finish what we started. We did so much. We rebuilt our military so much, but we have things to finish. Stand with me, and together we will defeat the globalists, the Marxists, communists, and the rhinos, and we will also defeat the fake news media because they're in on the act. We will evict Joe Biden from the White House. And we will restore the American Republic as the strongest, freest, and most powerful nation the world has ever known. We're going to get ourselves back there, and we're going to get it fast. They know me very well. They're not looking forward to having this happen, but they'll live with it. Actually, we got along with them pretty well. There were certain assets also. You know, other countries need a strong America, not just us. Other countries need a strong America. The USA is a mess. Our economy is crashing. Inflation is out of control. Our banks are failing. Russia has joined with China. Saudi Arabia has joined with Iran. China, Russia, Iran, North Korea have formed together as a menacing and destructive coalition. Our currency is collapsing, and the dollar will soon no longer be the world standard. Can you believe this? And that will be our greatest defeat in over 200 years if we lose the dollar. There's a really good chance that we will. But it won't happen with me, not even a small chance. Just like Russia would never have invaded Ukraine, like China would not have even thought about raiding Taiwan. Wouldn't have happened. They understood. They understood. Can't do that. I used to say that if you took the 5 worst presidents in the history of the United States and added them up, they would not have done near the destruction to our country as Joe Biden and the Biden administration have done. But now I say, if you took the 10 worst presidents, because I really believe that, if you took the 10 worst presidents and added them up, they would not have done to our nation what this man and what this administration has done. And by the way, they're going to, after this speech, they're going to be coming after me big time. We are a failing nation. We are a nation in decline, and that's what's happening. I hate to say it. It makes you sick to say it. And now these radical left lunatics want to interfere with our elections by using law enforcement, and we can't let that happen. With all of this being said, and with a very, very dark cloud hanging over our country, I have no doubt that we will together win the presidential election of 2020.